because what you see with the tsunami is not the size of the wave. Everyone thinks it's, this massive thing. It's the flow. It is the volume that comes with it, and it just is unrelenting, and that's what made Calvin Kattar the winner in this fight. It was that flow, that forward pressure, the ability to walk through what Giga was able to put down and to take away one of his biggest tools by crushing the space. He crushed the space on him, and by crushing that space, he made Giga a boxer instead of a kickboxer. He took away one of his biggest tools, one of his, the arsenal that's there is incredible as far as the kicks he has. He couldn't use them. There was too much pressure. He couldn't get his footwork in. And it was also that switching of the stance. Every time that Calvin Kattar switched into a southpaw stance, you saw Giga freeze for a moment and have to try to adjust, and it just took him out of a flow. Calvin Kattar showed what intelligence does in a fight. A guy can be stronger, a guy can be faster, a guy can have more tools. It doesn't matter as long as you are the more intelligent fighter and you put the entire elements that are part of MMA. We talked about it, when we were going to talk about this fight, Josh, we talked about, look, Calvin Kattar is the complete mixed martial artist, and he has to be that to beat Giga. I'm not too sure that he listened completely because he did it in the first round with his wrestling, kind of got away from it for a little bit, but then he kept going back to, working for takedowns at times, and all of that upsets the flow of Giga. It upsets his timing, and that was the difference in the fight. He just could not get his head above water. The pressure was too much.
John, I'm going to tell you that I believe, okay, well, let me preface this by saying, look, in the beginning, when we talked last week on Saturday when we talked just the main event, and then we also on Tuesday or Wednesday when it dropped, we talked about this main event and how Kattar needed to get it done. The way he needed to get it done was to threaten the takedown. Didn't mean he needed to get it, but he needed to threaten it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it was obviously in his mind to get the takedowns, but in reality, Giga gave him that first takedown, which changed the dynamic of the whole fight. When he slipped and fell and Kattar rushed to it, he jumped from 3 or 4 feet away to get to the back and lock his hands. He was able to get the body lock and then get the takedown. The fight changed right from that moment because like you were saying, you and I were texting back and forth, that fight was going Giga's way, and it was going to continue. Sharp. It was going to continue to go that way until that takedown occurred. I believe that because Kattar, if he would have continued to fight the rest of the way he was fighting, I think he would have been in a lot of trouble in that second and third round, in that first and second round with the speed, the accuracy of Giga's kicks. His power was definitely evident. He had more power than Kattar definitely as the fight, early in the fight. He had more power. And even throughout the fight, he had more power. Like, I was listening to some of the commentary. I didn't listen to all of it throughout most of the fight and most of the other fights, but I did turn it up during the main event. And Dom did bring up a good point, is that he was fighting a little bit more like the Nate Diaz style of fighting. He was walking you down, crushing the space, staying in that phone booth, and he was boxing you. And we knew he was going to box. But I said he had to threaten the takedowns to really take away Giga's kicks and also to take away his length and his reach of his jab and his power shots. Using that straight punches and those kicks and hiding behind that from such a far distance, Kattar needed to get rid of that. And the way he did that was by fighting like a Nate Diaz style fight. He fought in that phone booth. He walked him down. He didn't throw a lot of power shots, didn't make himself tired, and he just pieced him up. Small little combinations that a lot of them didn't really land. But he was throwing. The uppercut kind of landed every once in a while. The spinning elbows definitely found their mark.
Yes,
and
they
then
did.
There was a lot of other good things. A couple good knees in the middle there. Nothing really landed really super clean. The elbows were on point throughout the whole night. That was definitely the difference. As the blood started to trickle, Giga started to slow down. But I really got to go back to the first round, John. The first round changed the dynamic of how that fight was fought by Giga. And you had said this a while back, and I was like, how bad? Like, how much does that really make a difference? It made a lot of difference when he fought Edson Barboza. He knew that Edson Barboza was never going to try to take him down. And you saw the Giga that could fight on the feet, and he is the better kickboxer. Yep. But in this fight, Once Kattar got that first takedown, it changed how Giga fought the second round, the third round, the fourth. He was a little bit slower and everything because he was concerned about the takedown. He stuffed almost every other takedown after that. I think there was one at the end of the fourth round, I think.
Yeah, that in the fifth round, but come on.
Yeah, that in the fifth round. But I'm saying that was more of a drop, right? He dropped him, I think. Yeah. But at the end of the fourth round, they got into a little exchange. He got the takedown. He started hitting him against the fence until the bell rang. Yep. That was great. That was a great work. But the rest of the takedowns, he really didn't get any. But he made him think about them. And that split second is what is hesitant to let your hands go and also crush the distance. If I'm threatening the takedown like Kattar was, Giga's a little bit more hesitant because he's got to worry about his hands either being up or being down. And he definitely didn't want to get taken down because he knew he would have lost the round had he got taken down. He looked lost on the ground against Calvin Kattar. He looked lost, John. Nothing, pushing off the face, turning his back. I mean, if Calvin had a little bit more time, I think, in that first round, he could have potentially have got him out of there. That's what I thought. I mean, you put Giga, don't get me wrong, I think he's a phenomenal fighter. He's tough as fucking nails. But you put him against somebody like a Volkanovski, like he was pitching for that fight in this. 1 takedown, 2 takedowns. Hell no. Yeah. He's got a long ways to go. He's a very good and very top talent fighter, but he's not quite ready yet for the top, I'd say 3 or 4. He's there. He's got power. He's got the kickboxing, but everybody now, this is what we've said before a bunch of times. Someone's beat you now.
And they just wrote the blueprint.
All eyes are on you, and they just saw how that first round went. They just saw that you are good when you're at distance. You are not good in a phone booth, and you're not great off your back. Ding, ding, ding. Everyone's going to start to lay the groundwork for you now.
Boy, you got that
It's already been, the groundwork's already been laid out. Now everyone's just going to start following it and adding a little bit more to how they want to do it as well.
Yeah, that's so now it's really all on Chikadze to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to, when someone does use this type of tactic, this type of, movement, this crushing of the space, he has got to react to it in a different fashion that makes that person pay for it and have to think twice about taking that step in. And sometimes, you just run into a guy as tough as Calvin Kattar that is willing to take your shots to lay his down. And that's what you get, because his jab, like you said, he wasn't throwing it to, land it with a lot of power. He was throwing it to cause just that volume, just that I'm going to keep touching you and keep bothering you. I'm going to get in close enough to where I can land these elbows. And he landed some beautiful elbows, crossed ups, took it from vertical to horizontal, did all kinds of different angles with them. It was a beautiful performance. And you saw that in the scorecards because they had it, 50-45 and then a 50-44 by one judge. He won every round, and it wasn't even close. You could take a look and say the first 2 minutes of that first round, Giga Chikadze was winning that fight. It was when the fight hit the ground, everything started to change. There was that little bit. It was the closest round of the fight. And after that, Calvin Kattar just basically walked through him to take that fight.
John, but here, I know I just went in hard on the paint a little bit with Giga, but here I'm going to go back on the other side, though, and say, hey, the reason why this fight was so interesting for so many people all the way up until the 5th round, because at any moment, Giga could have won this fight. Yep. At any moment, his power, his kicks, something, Kattar could have just made a mistake. Granted. He could have made a mistake, taken for granted that, like, hey, I've got this fight in the bag, and could have just left the hand down low. He could have done anything where Giga could have came out and landed a head kick, got the ball rolling. I'm not saying anybody knocked him out. But there's always that element that he has, the ability to knock someone out, whether with a head kick, with the power, with the push kicks, whatever it is, body kicks. His body kicks landed all night. I'm surprised he didn't throw more of them. But the reason why I'm not surprised he didn't throw more after I just answered my own question is because he was tired. Yeah. He was tired from being backed up. He was tired from the grappling in the first round. All of those things, you can tell that he needs to make some tweaks to. And I believe that he's going to be in that top group of those top 3 or 4 fighters. I believe that. But he's going to have to make some big changes now after this fight because, like we've said, the groundwork has been laid out. Yeah. People know now how to beat him, and he did not look good off of his back. A lot of extensions of the front of the full arm, trying to get out of positions, just turning to his side and taking shots. I mean, it was giving up submission after submission attacks and attempts. I mean, the side choke to the mount, to the back, to all of those things. And it's not like you're dealing with someone who's a top level jiu-jitsu guy. You're dealing with someone who's mainly a kickboxer and boxer who is able to handle him on the ground. You get him in the mix with somebody that is a top level jiu-jitsu guy, and it could be a quick night for them. For him, I should say.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's, I thought, you talked about the commentary. Dom said the one thing. Look at this fight. It's going to make Giga a better fighter. I do believe that. He took some damage, but none of it was that damage that he was seriously concussed by blows or anything like that. He's got some cuts. Those heal. He's going to become a better fighter off of this. He's going to learn from it. He's going to go back to the drawing board. He's going to go back to King's MMA, and they're going to fix a lot of the things that were wrong in this fight, and he's going to come back a better fighter. It was exactly what you saw Calvin Kattar doing off of his last fight against Max Holloway.
100% agree.